Hello everyone. So in this video we will continue from Banach fixed point theorem. This is the next lecture. So let us start with the statement. Every contraction mapping T defined on a complete metric space XD has a fixed point, that is x belongs to x such that T of x is equals to x. So this statement says that this T is a contraction mapping, and if it is defined on a complete metric space, then it will have a fixed point, that this x is transformed and mapping is equals to the same element that has been transformed. So the proof is, given T is a contraction mapping on a complete metric space, so by definition we can say that the distance between images will be less than is equals to alpha dxy, and the alpha value is in between 0 and 1. Now what we are doing is we are simply taking transformation T of x double time, and this will be equals to this. We can write T square as T of x, and from equation number 1 what we can write is we can change the inequality and we can take one alpha out. Okay, so we will get this from equation number 1. Again, from equation number 1 we can take one alpha out and it will be alpha square. So as you can see, if we notice the pattern, when the power of T was 1, we took one alpha common. Similarly, when we took the square of the transformation, we got alpha square. So in a similar way, if we are taking the transformation nth time, so we will get alpha to the power n, and we are naming it as equation number 2. Next, what we are doing is we are constructing a sequence in X, and we took one element x naught from that complete metric space, and we have defined it in such a way that we have defined x1 in such a way that x1 is equals to T of x naught, and then x2 is equals to T of x1. What we are doing, we are just constructing a sequence. Okay, now we simply put the value of x1, that is T of x naught, and x2, this x2 is equals to T to the power square. Okay, and in this sequence, if you see, this is x1, x2. If we want to write for the nth, so it will be xn, and as you can see, if we are taking x1, it is one less in the bracket. So similarly, when we will write for xn, it will be one less, that is n minus 1. And if we want to write in the form of x naught, so you can see, if you are taking x2, you are taking the power 2. So in xn, we will take nth power, and we are naming it as equation number 3. Moving on further, next we prove that xn is a Cauchy sequence, and for that you have to prove that the distance between xm and xn is tending to 0, means the distance between the sequence xm and xn is tending to 0, means the difference, their difference is getting smaller and smaller. Like if this is xm sequence and this is xn sequence, and the distance between both of these is getting less and it is approaching to 0. Okay, so we are going to prove this in order to prove that xn is a Cauchy sequence. Now we took distance between xm and xn on the right hand side, where m and n be the positive integers such that n is greater than n, and if n is greater than m, so we can let n is equals to m plus p, means that we have just added the difference so that we can replace n by m plus p. In the next step, here it will be m plus p. There is a correction. We have to write distance, instead of this n we will replace the value of n, that is m plus p. And by equation number 3, what we can do is we can convert it into a transformation. Like if it is xm, we will change it into T to the power m, as we have constructed the sequence. Like if you want to write it in the form of m, so it will be xm is equals to T to the power, instead of n it will be m x naught. Okay, and so I'm just replacing the value. And by equation number 3 we have replaced it similarly over here, and by equation number 2 we changed the inequality and took alpha to the power m common. And in this, see, it is a distance between x naught to t to the power p x naught. Okay, so we have just splitted it, like distance between t x naught to t to the power x naught. Like if it is x naught and it is t to the power p x naught. Okay, so it is the distance between this to this. So we have splitted it, like distance between t x naught to t of x naught, t of x naught to t to the power square x naught, t to the power square x naught to t to the power cube x naught. Okay, until last will be this term by triangle inequality. Now next what we are doing is by equation number 2 again we are taking alpha out, and in the next step we took distance between x naught to t of x naught common, and we will get 1 plus alpha square till this, and this is a GP series. This is a GP series, and after that we will get this alpha to the power m over here. So we'll get alpha to the power m by 1 minus alpha, and this term will be as it is. This whole term will approach to 0 as m tends to infinity, and your left hand side was distance between xm to x naught. So if this term is tending to 0, then this will also tend to 0, and this is what we have to prove in order to prove that xn is a Cauchy sequence in X. Now next, but we know that our metric space was complete metric space, and in complete metric space all Cauchy sequence are convergent, and the point on which it is converging that belongs to a metric space. So we took a point x and it will belong to the space. So our Cauchy sequence is converging to this point, and if it is converging to this point, by definition we can write it as the distance between xn and x is tending to 0 as n tends to infinity. Next we prove that this x is the only fixed point of the contraction mapping. Like we are proving that this fixed point is unique, and to prove that we will take 2 points and will show that both of these points are equal, because if x is unique then y must be equal to x, and if suppose we have took 2 points, then according to the definition of fixed point, t of x is equals to x and t of y is equals to y. Now we are finding the distance between x and y. So instead of this x we can write t of x, just we said that, and instead of this y we will write t of y, and by equation number 1 we will take alpha common and we will be left with dxy. Okay, now we are shifting this to left hand side, so it will be dxy minus alpha. We are shifting this term to left hand side, minus alpha dxy comma y, and this will be less than is equals to 0, and in this term we are taking common dxy, so it will be 1 minus alpha dxy. Okay, and it is less than is equals to 0. As we know that according to the definition of a contraction mapping, alpha value is in between 0 to 1. It cannot be equal to 1 as it is strictly less than 1. So this implies that 1 minus alpha is greater than 0. Then we get that the distance between x and y is less than is equals to 0, and we marked this equation as A. But we know that as D is a metric, so it will be greater than is equals to 0. Equation number A we got from the situation, and equation number B is from the definition that D is metric. So of course if D is metric, the distance is always positive or greater than 0. So from equation number A and B we can say that distance between x and y is equals to 0. It is neither greater than 0 nor less than 0. It is exactly equals to 0. And if the distance between x and y is 0, that means that both points are equal. So x is equals to y. This implies that x is equals to y. Hence T has only fixed point x, and that is unique. Hence proved. Next we have a remark the completeness of X is significant in this case, and the contraction on incomplete metric space may not have fixed points. So the remark means, like in this theorem we have said every contraction mapping T defined on complete metric space must have a fixed point. But if we say the same thing on the incomplete metric space, then it wouldn't be true. Like we can't say anything in the case of incomplete. We can't say that there will be a fixed point, there will exist a fixed point in case of incomplete metric space. So that's what remark says, and we have seen this theorem. This is available in Hindi also, as I've already said. Now in the next video we will continue with further extension of the contraction mapping, and in that we will discuss two theorems. First is Wong theorem and next is Caristi's theorem. Okay, and yeah, that's it. If you have any doubt you can ask me, and thank you for listening. Bye bye.